So Toolset is basically a way to build custom posts without a lot of PHP, as you can see here on their website. Um, let's see. We're going to go ahead and start customizing the blog. And in order to do that, what you're going to need to do is to, once you purchase Toolset from their website, and you can do that from the buy and download. Let me go ahead and post this in the group so that you guys can see. So they have a couple of different ones. You could do single site, unlimited sites, and then unlimited sites where you never have to renew. So that's also available for there. Let's see. I have the lifetime one just because I tried it out for the first year, and since I was going to go ahead and renew anyway, it just made more sense to do the lifetime. You guys can read more about this on the site. I'm not going to dive too much into it, but you guys will be able to see everything there. I'm going to go ahead and navigate into my account just so you all can know. Okay, so what we have is once you go into your account, you can go into your downloads section right here. And you'll be able to download all of the newest versions of all of the plugins that they have. They have different extensions, different utilities, ones that have theme integrations. So you can see all of that in your account. What you're going to need for customizing your blog is going to be toolset types and toolset views. Those are the only two that I use to customize all of my blogs that need customization. So I already have those two installed on this site that I have right here. And let's go ahead and take a look at what a normal blog looks like when you have it in X or Pro. So this is normally what it's going to look like when you have it in Pro or X. And it looks great. It's a masonry theme where you can have all of your blocks next to each other. But what I want to do is I want to make it full width, spanning the width of this. Not necessarily full width of the screen, but just full width of these two. And then I want to show a little bit of a bigger picture and just style these a little bit different. We're going to also style the single post as well differently because I'm not a fan of the way that this looks, and I wouldn't just go for a custom theme for the blog. I don't want to have it be kind of like a standard. So as you can see here, so we're going to go ahead and begin with, once you install Toolset, you're going to have a Toolset menu at the bottom left hand of your admin menu, and you're going to be able to customize the way your blog looks. Now we don't need to get into adding different fields or things of that nature. What we really would need is just the views. If you want to add certain aspects to your blog, you can use the other options such as post fields, but just for the sake of this part of the video, we're not going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to add a new, and we're going to do a blog view. So this is what it's going to look like when you are looking at your blog page. So it'll be your /blog. And I'm just going to do full custom display mode because you can always not use some of the functions that they give you on the site, on the page that you're going to be building. And then, so I just always choose full custom display. Alright, let me just double check, make sure everything's good with the comments. Yeah, we're good. Hey Donald. Alright, so for this, right now we're going to go ahead and choose posts because that's what we want to customize. That's what WordPress categorizes all of your blogs as, posts. I want them to be ordered by the post date. Let's do ascending because I want it to be ascending in order. I don't want it to have a display limit. And right now we have the pagination settings. So if you want it to only show 10 per page, you have these options right here. Your best bet is going to probably be your enabled with manual transition and page load, or manual transition and Ajax. Ajax just means it won't reload the page. It'll just basically reload it in its own container and just push the user back up to the top of the page. I'm not a huge fan of it. because if you want to link to a second page, it's a little bit more to do. So the pagination enabled with manual transition. I want to display 10 blogs per page. Let's change that to 5. Just because I know how the way I'm going to design it, it's going to be a pretty lengthy preview, so I wanted to do that. This is for the search results, so if you want to add a custom search at the top of your blog page, this is where you can go. And it's just some of the settings that you can use, so when someone clicks the search button, it'll update the page. Or if you want them to automatically update the page when they change any of the values of the search. So that's where you can have your settings, and this is where you're going to put your filter. I'll tie into this a little bit later because I'm not too worried about a view for the. Did I name that blue view? I did. My bad. Let's change that. Nice catch. Looks like my comments are not updating live, which is a shame. Yeah, I know, I'm funny. Okay, so alright, so the filter, we'll go ahead and maybe add a search filter to it later, but for right now, let's just stick with designing the blog. Okay, so we're going to head down to the loop output editor. So keep in mind, the page that we're editing is this one, where it shows all of your recent blogs, all of your blog posts. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go ahead and begin the loop wizard. I'm going to choose unformatted just because so I have full control over it. You're more than welcome to choose some of these other options, but I found that using the theme, it doesn't really work the way you think it should. So I just basically use unformatted the entire time. And I'm going to have to keep going and refreshing the comments just in case. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to check the box that says use a content template to group the fields in this loop. And I'll show you what this does in just a second. Add a field. So these are the fields that are going to show up right here in this section. All right. So, of course, we want a featured image. We want the post title with a link. Let's do an excerpt. And we're going to go ahead and customize this so that the excerpt, it only shows a certain amount. And I'm just going to go off of what the template I already have now. Let's see. I have this as showing a few characters. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and make this words. And we're going to go ahead and make it so that the excerpt is going to be 75 words, just because that's a nice median. And the ellipsis text is the one where you have like the read more. I usually don't like having the read more, so I just put a period. Alright, and we're going to keep this setting the same. So let's just save the settings. So we have the 3 options here. Some of the other options that I'm going to want is maybe a button that says read more instead of doing the read on. So for that, we're just going to use a post URL. Let's see, we're going to also go ahead and I want the date to show what date the post was. And then you can also edit that so that you can do different formatting. I'm going to keep it the way it is just because that's the way I like showing the entire date. For the post URL, let's backtrack and make sure everything's good here. Yeah. Let's see. Some of the other ones that I might want to do is add the category. So we can scroll down to the taxonomy for here for categories. And let's edit this because we want it to link to the archive page. And this is up to you or not. You don't have to have it linked. I would like to have it linked. And then we're going to go ahead and keep the separator with a comma. And I want to show you guys what it's actually going to look like once we're finished. So this is what it looks like currently. And this is just a stock theme design. And it's going to end up looking like this. So we have the category, the title, date, the amount of comments, the featured image, and then a little bit about it, the 75 words, and then the read more button. And the only thing is I just don't have my sidebar set over here yet, but that will be coming once I figure what I want in the sidebar on this particular development site. Let's see. Cody says, are you able to show your mouse? Well, let's see. Preferences. Let's see if I'm able to show where my mouse is. I honestly don't think I can, Cody. I think it's because of the software that I use to do the live videos. Yeah. I'll try and be more noticeable when I go to click something so that you guys can see exactly what I'm about to click on. Okay, so basically we have the website, the category, the title, the date, comments, things of that nature, the image, the excerpt, and then the URL button that I was talking about. So let's go ahead back to the view, and we're going to add the comments as well. And you can always do a search, post comments number, and we'll edit this. And this shows you just your different options for it. There's no comments, one comment. So we're just going to change this to 0 comments because I like numbers instead of words. All right. So what we have we have the different aspects of our individual blog posts. And as you can see here, it's going to replace these, and it's going to end up looking like this at the end. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to see if there's a better way for me to view these comments, because let's see. All right, we're going to go with this and see if it works. Okay, so let's go ahead and so once you have all of the items that you want inside of your single view for the archive page, we're going to go ahead and hit finish. And then what this is going to do is basically you're going to put the loop. So basically anything inside of this loop item for blog view right here is going to be outputted through this WordPress views loop code right here. Okay. So right now, let's go ahead and save this because we have all of this right here. Let's go ahead and save that, and we're going to go ahead and add a new page. And we're going to do a test blog view. No container, header, or footer, because that's what I always use. So Toolset doesn't have complete integration with Cornerstone yet. There's a way that I can navigate around this. So once you install Cornerstone, they have a couple of buttons here and here for you to use when you have the viewer. So all of your items are here that you can use standalone shortcodes on a certain page. But if you see all the way at the bottom where it says post view, we have the blog view that we just made. So I'm going to click on that, and you don't have to worry about anything here. Everything is just going to stay the same, and you can just hit insert the shortcode. Now what I do is I take that and copy it. So I just Command A and copy. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert that into a text field in Cornerstone. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add a section, text, and we're just going to paste the shortcode. Looks great, doesn't it? When you paste a shortcode inside of Cornerstone, it does not take your CSS that you apply to the view. So the CSS that you put in here, it does not show that in Cornerstone. So it doesn't do the best at previewing what you have, but it just shows you that the shortcode is there. So let's go ahead and save that. Open that into a new tab, and we're going to go ahead and start styling this so that it looks a little bit better. Okay, so what we need to do in order to get this blog so it looks good and it looks like where is it? This one. We need to do a little bit of styling. Now what I like to do is I like to basically do everything in HTML. And I know this isn't great for some of you all, but there is another way around it. And I'll show you real quick how to make it much more simple once I show you the HTML version. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin styling it by putting a div around the entire one. So once we put a div around this, it basically will single it out, so you can do your styling with it, and you can also basically it would be like making it its own single blog post on the archive page. So now that we've done that, and you guys are more than welcome to follow along with me if you want by navigating to this URL, and let me post this into the group and you guys can see that. So you guys are more than welcome to check that out. I should have more info on the sales page for those who don't want to watch the video. Which sales page are you referring to, Alan? Are you talking about the WP types one? Is that the one you're referring to? Okay, so back to editing the view. Let's see what it looks like. Most likely not going to look any different. Alright, so now that we have this, we have our single parts where we can basically see any part of the blog post. And I just have some CSS that I'm going to apply to the single blog right here. So basically I'm going to display a block. It's going to be 100% width of the container that it allows it to be. I'm adding a little bit of a box shadow, and I'm making the background white. The margin at the bottom of it is going to be 2 because I want them to have a distance between themselves. If you don't have that margin, they're just going to be butt up against each other, which could be good for what you're doing, but since I have a box shadow, it does not look good. And these are all basic just CSS tips that you guys can find on W3 Schools or things of that nature. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to switch back to my blog view, and we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so in order to continue to make it look something like this, we need to add a little bit more HTML in here. Yep, there you go, Alan. Sorry about that. Okay, so for the featured image, there's a couple things that I want to do. And let's go ahead and restyle these. Or reorder these, better yet, so that they're in the right order for how I want to showcase them. Okay, so I have my taxonomy, the post date, the comments, featured image, the link for the which is the title, and then the post URL is going to be the button. So let's go ahead and we're going to begin with another div. We're going to call this the top meta. because that's what it's going to contain. And inside of that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to contain the category and the post link. And now that I'm looking at it, the post link should go underneath right about there. Let's just refer back to the blog. So we have the category and the title of the blog. So we have the category, the title of the blog. All right, so back here we're going to go ahead and close our div tag just for styling reasons. And we're going to go ahead and add a span tag to this taxonomy, and this is going to have a class of blog category, and then I'm already going to go ahead and style the font size to be 15 pixels. And let's go ahead and close. Let's go ahead and close it up. We're going to go ahead and put a break. If I could type today. Today's the worst day to not be able to type. And we're going to go ahead and add another span to this, and we're going to call it blog title. And the reason I'm adding so many classes is so that I can go ahead later and style them down here. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and save, and let's go ahead and refresh. See what we have. So now we're starting to see that everything's starting to stack on top of each other, which is exactly what we want. Okay, so let's go ahead next to the meta for the blog. And in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and do another div. Class equals blog meta. And we're going to go ahead and add a span to the post date. And we're going to go ahead and do the class as blog date. Let's go ahead and put an end span on that. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is the same thing for the span for the comments. Missing something here. Span. What am I missing? Oh, I'm missing my end tag there. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and add these comments and my span. And from there, we're going to go ahead and end that div because that's all that's going to be up there for that. Let's see. All right, from there, we're going to go ahead and save it just so you guys can get a preview of what's going on. And we'll refresh it. So as you can see, everything is starting to stack more and more on top of each other, which this is basically how we need it to look. I just need to add a couple more divs just so that we can go ahead and make it so that everything looks right. So let's go to the div. Let's go ahead and add something different for this featured image, because with this featured image we can go ahead and basically customize it however we want. Right now it's a 150 by 150 image, and we obviously can't do that because it needs to be this big. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and delete this shortcode, go to the fields and views, and we're going to go ahead and add another post featured image shortcode right here. And we're going to go ahead and customize it. So the original image, it'll just take whatever the proportions are of the original image, whether it be portrait, landscape, however big it is, it'll make it so that it fits in your 100% width of that initial div that we did. You can do their presets here, but what I like to do is I like to go to the custom size and just do my own pixel widths. And we don't want to keep the original proportion. I noticed that they have a spelling error there. But we want to crop it so that it's the exact dimensions. And what this is the similar, it's similar to basically having your background image in a section in Cornerstone, and then having the background size set to cover instead of contain. So we want it centered, and we want to insert it as an HTML tag. You can do it as a URL of the image, and you can put it inside of an image source code tag if you want to do it that way, but the image tag will be fine. And from there, I like to add the center list, which makes the image center. And then I want to also give it a blog image so that we can go ahead and customize that later. So let's insert that. So basically what this is, I'm editing this style of view instead of doing the archive in Toolset, because this is basically like what your main page is going to be. I'm actually going to get to the archive part in a little bit, because what that is, here's the main blog view, and if I go to a taxonomy archive page, it looks like the normal blog. So I will get into customizing that after customizing the main blog view. The main blog view allows you to basically insert your blog on any page you want with a single shortcode. And that's different than using the WordPress archive, because the WordPress archive is a specific link. As you can see, it's the category of website that we're viewing here. And if I wanted to view the category of hosting, let's do one that only has one. The category of development. If I wanted to do that, you can see that it shows up there. But what I want is I want my archives to look the same as I do with my blog, which looks like this. I want everything to look like this. You guys can have a different look for your archive than what your main blog view looks like, but I want to go ahead and make them both look the same just for this particular website that I'm developing. So that's what the main difference is from what we're doing than what the archive and Toolset is. Because what we're building right now is you can put it anywhere you want with one single shortcode that we showed on the page where we have all of this. So that's the main difference, Joe. Let's see, we're going to go ahead and save this. We're going to go back to our test blog view, and we're going to refresh. Now that we have this, it's 700 by 350, and it's centered right smack dab in the middle. Okay, so what we want to do now, and actually what I need to do, is change this page because it needs to have a sidebar, because I want my blog to have a sidebar. If you don't care about having a sidebar, then I'll show you what we can do. Let's do content left sidebar right. I'm going to save that. Okay, so there we go. Let's see, and then what we're going to have is, actually what I did something a little bit different. Sorry about that, guys. We're going to go ahead and edit this back to where it was. It was no container header footer, and then I actually did something a little bit different. So what I did was I just used this, and I had a column over here. That's how I did that. I just wanted to make sure I was still doing it the same way. So let's save this and view that. Alright, so what we have here, and we need to make it look something similar to this. So next what we're going to have to do is we're going to go ahead and do the blog excerpt. And that's going to be right here. So let's do a custom div. And I like putting pretty much each element into its own div because you get to style it much easier that way. Your markup's going to be crazy, but once you go ahead and get everything going, you'll be good to go. We don't need to do anything with this shortcode because it's just going to lay there. So let's go ahead and do the read more button, and we're going to do a blog button here. And let's go ahead and make sure we end that div so we don't get confused. So basically what this is just the URL. And as you can see right here, it just outputs this. We need that to look like a button. And thankfully, ThemeCo has been so kind to provide us with a very easy class. So we're just going to basically add the href. We're going to add the class xButton. And I want this to be centered, so I'm going to also use the center list. I use that for everything. We want it to say read more, and then we go ahead and close our link tag. Let's save this and refresh the blog view. Okay, so now we have our button. So now basically everything from now on is just styling it to make it look the way we want to look. And I'm going to go through this part quickly because CSS, there are a lot of tutorials on basic CSS that I'm going to be going ahead and doing right now. That doesn't really apply too much to this video in particular. So we're going to go ahead and start with, let's go ahead and start with the blog comments and the blog date. I want to go ahead and convert those colors. And as you can see, I'm just doing blog date, blog comments. So I'm just adding this CSS based on that. So now we colored it to the color of the website's theme. Let's go ahead and add padding, and we're going to go ahead and display the excerpt as a block, because what I want to do is I want this padding to be over here, but I don't want padding on this entire div completely, because then it'll put padding on this featured image. I only want padding here. So we'll go ahead and add the CSS for that. Padding right here. Save the sections. And you'll see from here on that we just gave ourselves some padding. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some more CSS. I want the blog title to be black instead of this color. So let's go ahead and change that. Blog title, and then the link for it, we want that to be color black, and then I'm just changing the font family to match the rest of the site. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so what I want to do now is the blog meta. Let's see, I think it might be... Okay, so for the blog meta, we want to go ahead and see how they're next to each other. What I want to do is I want to use Flexbox to go ahead and achieve this. So in order to do that, and I'm going to go through this code a little bit more. So the blog meta is the main div that contains the two spans for the content, the date, and the comments. So I want this entire div to be center aligned. I'm just working with some margins here. I'm going to go ahead and display it flex. Now what happens when I display it flex is I want the content to have space between it. And if you guys have been working with the header builders, you guys would understand what I'm trying to achieve. Let me show you a little bit of how it would actually work. Because I'm just going to take off the width and show you guys what it looks like. So right now we have space between. So they're all the way pushed apart as far as they can go, which is great, but it's too far apart, which is why I added the extra width of the actual div so that they're not so far apart. And I know that you can actually do space around instead, and if you see what happens, it's a little bit better, but not completely what I want to do. So what I do is I just have the space between, and then I do a width for the actual div itself. So I have it there. I want to do them a little bit closer together. So that's how you can use Flex. Very simple what is that? 5 lines, or basically it's 3 lines of code to get your items next to each other. Okay, so what I want to go ahead and do is continue with the CSS. Let's work on our top meta, which is going to be the category and blog title. Paste that in. I want it to be font size 30, and I want the text to be center aligned. What that's going to do is give us this, which is looking exactly like what we want it to look like. All right. So right now I have icons before these items, as you can see, you know, they're right before and they're a different color. So in order to achieve something like that, we need to add 2 bits of code. Blog date before. So this is a pseudo element. You just add it before. The content of it is going to be the Font Awesome Unicode for the calendar. And in order to find those, you can go to fontawesome.io/cheat sheet right here. And you can see everything that you need to see. So the calendar one that I'm using, you can see right here. Okay. And when you do that, you have to declare that the font family is going to be Font Awesome. And I just want them to be black. If you don't declare the font family to be Font Awesome, then you get this little square because it doesn't know what font it should be using for that. So that's just a nice little thing. You can do that for basically anything as well. It doesn't have to be for, I mean, you can use it for headings. You can do it globally so that they can always have something before it. So we want to do that. So that, all right. Let's go ahead and add one more bit of snippet. So everything looks pretty much good. Pretty much everything is already good to go. I need this to be full width, and I need some padding below this button. So let's go ahead back to the image. A full width for the blog image. And let's refresh. And there's that. We need to add some spacing between the metadata. So in order to do that, we're just going to go ahead back to our blog date and blog comments and just add a space before the shortcodes. That's real simple. Let's refresh. And there we have it. Let's add some padding below this button. So we're going to go to this button. And we're just going to do padding bottom little. No, large. I'm sorry. Padding bottom large. And this is already a preset class that shortcode has. They have ones such as man, MBM, MBS, MBL. Basically anything like margin or padding. Those are all available. Yes, Christy, the video will be available after on Facebook, as well as I'm going to post it to our YouTube channel. So we're going to go ahead and add a padding to the bottom. Let's go ahead and refresh. And there we have that. So basically we just styled our blog view so that it goes from this to this in just a matter of time. I don't know how long I've been live. 40 minutes. So it took 40 minutes, give or take, to explain how to do the video. It would take a much shorter amount of time if you were doing it yourself. There's a bunch of different ways that you can style a blog, and I would say visit other websites. Look at actual blog styling plugins to where you can see how to what you should style your blog to make it look like. It doesn't have to look like this one, but do something that'll match the theme of your own site. So basically there's a different way of doing what we just achieved. Um, it's semi quicker and it's more user friendly, so you don't have to worry about HTML if you're not familiar or if you're not comfortable with it. And that's using Cornerstone. Now, there's no direct, link between Cornerstone and Toolset, so they're not really compatible with working out of the box with each other. But what I'm going to do is show you guys what we can do. So I'm going to create a new page here, and I'm going to name this blog view, and I always add do not delete, just so if I want to customize it later, I can do that. We're going to do no container header footer for this, and that's important to do. And we're going to publish this. Let's go into Pro and edit it. So basically we have our own blank visual builder for Toolset. We're going to add a section. And for this, I suggest using raw elements, not text elements. We need one for that. And what we're going to put inside of this one is, if we go back to our views, we know we need the taxonomy. So we're going to go ahead and put the taxonomy right there. You're not going to see a preview because there's no taxonomy assigned to this page. So this is where it can get a little complicated. And let's go ahead and add our class to this. This is what I mean by being a little bit more WYSIWYG. Alright, now we want to go ahead and add our title. So for this, we can actually delete. Let's go to the custom headline element. And let's go ahead and copy and paste the shortcode right there. So this is basically a link and a title to the actual post. Now this shows the page title here, but when we post it into the view, it'll automatically take place of the blogs that are there. And I know it sounds complicated, just bear with me for a quick second. I want this to be centered. Let's go ahead and add our next one. Let's add another raw right below. So we have our span comments here. Let's add our blog meta. Let's add that. Let's put that there. And that's not going to be styled right now, but it will be once we put our CSS in for that. We have our image. And for this, we're gonna need to do something a little bit different, and that is basically do a fields and views post featured image, custom size the 700 by 350, crop. Instead of an HTML tag, we're going to do the URL of the image. Insert, and that is right here. You notice that it has the output equals URL. So we're going to go ahead and paste that. Click on the source, insert from URL, and paste that right there. Doesn't look like it'll work, but it does. Let's add our classes, center list, and blog image. I'm pretty sure it's blog image. Yeah, blog image. So we add that. Here's our image. Like I said, it looks weird when we're building it, but everything just comes together at the end. Let's go ahead and do the excerpt. So in order to do the excerpt, we need to add another element, do another raw element right below, paste the shortcode. These are all basic shortcodes that we saw in the beginning, and do our do our thing here. Let's do a button, because we want that button. We want it to say read more, and we need the link to be that post URL that we had earlier. There. Let's center this button and put a padding bottom large on the bottom. Okay, so you're thinking, great, perfect, looks good. Let's go ahead and add in the column. Let's go ahead and add that that main single blog class, so that we can go ahead and do that as well. Let's save this. Let's exit to the dashboard. Go back to the pages. We're going to edit this. We're going to switch from pro to text. We're going to proceed with caution. And all of this is the CSS, the CS shortcodes that make everything look good in Cornerstone. So let's copy all of that, go to our view, and essentially all of this HTML that we put in, we can replace it all with Cornerstone. Right now, this is what our test blog that we've been working on looks like. All right, it looks just like this one. So let's go ahead and hit save and see if it worked. Refresh. And for the most part, it worked. I have a little bit of styling left to do. But as you can see, this is a quicker way to do what we need to do. You still have to do that CSS that we discussed earlier, right down here. So you still have to do that. I'm missing a couple of classes here and here. But other than that, it's basically a different way to style it. Every time, the only bad thing is that every time you want to edit this content, you have to go in and find it. Unless you format it yourself, you have to go in, find it, so that you have your, let's see, if I wanted to do the taxonomy right here, there's that raw content, blog category. Blog category needs to be center aligned. So let's go ahead and add that. So it's a little bit more difficult to edit down the road if you ever want to change anything, as opposed to doing it in HTML. Can you do content templates with Cornerstone? What do you mean, Nicholas, when you say content templates? So basically, it looks pretty much the same. Let me fix this button because it's bothering me. Switch it to margin bottom large. Okay, so there we go. Basically, it looks the same. You have a couple of spacing issues here. Obviously, this is way too big. But for the most part, that only took us about 10-15 minutes to actually style. And from there, you have this right here. In order to continue to be able to edit this, I would not hit the update button. Just refresh it. And you'll be able to edit it back in Pro again if you ever need to make any changes. This is one way to do it. I kind of weaned myself off of this a little bit, just because I don't want to rely on having templated pages for each of my content that I'm trying to do. Because if I did that, I would have to have one for, you know, all of these custom post types I have over here on the left hand side, workshops, tips and tricks, all of this. So I would have to have a page for each of those when I could just style it in HTML. I also prefer being able to have it in HTML. Right there, just so I can see it. It works. It lets you know if you have incorrect HTML, and you're able to edit it later on much quicker. And it also builds up your skills. I honestly, I see a lot of people in the group asking about CSS and HTML. Doing little stuff like this builds it up so quickly because you have your single couple of divs, and it just basically helps you build up all of your skills as a developer slash designer. So if I save this back, we'll go back to the test view, and it should look normal. There we go. So the little bit of a styling thing is that you'd have to do more with Cornerstone if you use that as the templated rather than using HTML, but works a lot quicker. Keep the pages for reference so you can update them later, and that way you can go ahead and just have it ready to edit later on down the road if you need to. So for now, let's go ahead and wrap up that, and we're going to go ahead and style the actual single blog view. Now, the code that I'm about to show you is not my code. It's a code from a fellow member in the group, Ben Ryan. And I want to thank you, Ben Ryan, for showing this code, for posting this code in the group. It truly has been a huge help to me, speed along a couple of projects. Let me see if I can find a link. The link to it is right here. I'll show you guys as well. So basically, he has the code to style your single post view to have a parallax featured image and your content down here, just like this. And I think that looks so much better than what it looks like right here. You're thinking to yourself, it looks fine the way it is, but I like to have completely wide images with the single blog views. With method 1, you have a single page, but not a template to use with CPTs. Right? Would I have to rebuild the page with every new post? Method 1 is the HTML. Not a template to use with custom post types. You don't have to rebuild the page with every new post once you get the overall view completed. So once you build this one view and you have posts checked up here, you can actually see that every time you add a new post, you don't have to restyle anything of that nature. It'll just take part of what you have down here because it'll output it through this view. You don't have to worry about updating it every time you update the post. This is a one-time thing. Do it, and you have to just do this and you're done. You don't have to worry about every time you update. Okay, so I'm going to go, basically we're going to make it look just like this. And I'm going to do a couple things off screen because I have to get into some code on my server, so I won't show that. Let's go ahead and launch my software to edit a few things. And you don't need Dreamweaver. This is just what I like to use. Okay, so he has a great tutorial on how to do the he has a child thing for you to be able to download there, which is awesome. And you can see different examples of it here as well. So basically what you need to do is choose the stack that you're using. Alright, so I'm using Renew and Pro. You're going to go ahead and take it, and you're going to go into your file system. You're going to go into your content, your themes, and then your child theme. What you want to do is go ahead and create, I'm sorry, hold on. Go to Pro, go to your single.php, and you're going to go ahead and upload that to your Pro child theme. Okay, And this is the easiest way that I found to do this. So you add your single.php here, which means that you can edit this file, update the main theme, and it won't get overridden. That's the only thing you have to do outside of the WordPress install. Once you've done that, you want to go ahead and grab all of this code that he put right here. Switch over to Appearance. Go down to Editor. Select your child theme. Go to your single.php. Select all and just paste everything that he had in there. If you don't want to paste all of it, you can just go ahead and paste it right here on the under and get rid of this PHP file down there. Okay. So once you do that, everything is here, up to date, just like what he has. Let's go ahead and I don't have a save button. Let's try something out. I have to do something with my server real quick. Sorry about that, guys. Let's delete this file. I'm just going to do a quick little thing here just to make this easier for the video. So I've got my single PHP file over here, and then I went ahead and I posted the entire content here. Okay. So our blog post looks like this right now. If I refresh, it looks like this, which still doesn't look the way it needs to look. But no worries, because we're going to go ahead and keep following his instructions. He's got some CSS here that you need to copy and paste right here. So I'm just copying all of this. I'm going to go into my customizer. And you're going to edit your global CSS. And I've already got it all copied here, so I'm just going to go ahead and take out my comment. So once you paste all of that CSS, your content is going to look like this. Minus a sidebar. Mine only has a sidebar because that's what I want it to look like. But yeah, so you'll have it all up here just like this. Let me, I know he's updated this. So let's do that. Okay. So we have that. So we have our featured image back here, the title, our content, and then we have all of our content from the actual post. Let's go ahead and save and publish. Exit out, and we'll see everything in person. So it used to look like this. This is the before, and this is the after. Full width, featured image, content right there, and you have a beautiful looking view of your blog that's custom, and it was as easy as copying and pasting 2 sets of code into your WordPress install. I highly recommend that. There are ways of customizing your single blog view using Toolset. If you guys want, I have no problem discussing how to do that as well. Just let me know. Basically, you want to go to your content templates underneath of Toolset. You can add one. You want to name this single blog view. Assign it to post and your existing post items. Create the content template. So what this is doing is saying, hey, we want all of the single blogs to take whatever this is going to look like. All you get is this the single thing right here. It looks exactly like what we did with our main view, but this is just for the single blog post. You can use custom HTML if you want to. You're also more than welcome to use Cornerstone in the same exact way that we just did. Okay, so basically take it, go to your pages, add a new one. You got your single blog. I add that at the end just for all of them. You want to go ahead to your no container header footer, publish, and then you can just start building the way you want your blog to look in Cornerstone. So, for example, we want it to be this section to have the image. We navigate to here. We pull that post featured image here. We want it to be original image, the URL of the image. Insert shortcode. We're going to copy this, go over to here, insert this image as a background image, insert from URL, copy and paste. Alright, you're not going to see it, but it's there. Let's make the height of this. Let's make it 400 pixels, just so that we have that. And we can always put the heading of the title of the blog in here as well. Same way we did it before. We want the post title, not post title with link, just a post title. Insert shortcode, copy this. We want to go ahead and paste that there. So we can do that. If you want this to be at the bottom, you can use flex to achieve that. Wrong. Display flex. And you can do online content. Send. I think I did it in the wrong one. But yeah, for the most part, you guys understand what I'm trying to say. And then from there, you can go ahead, manage your layout, add new row, or you can add a new section. So this is your featured image section, and then you can just basically add your excerpt down there below. Post excerpt, 75 words. I'm sorry, forget what I just said. Post body. We need the post body. Insert that, because this is a single blog view. It needs to be the post body. Go into it, add your text element, paste it in there, and it's there. If you look into skeleton mode, you have it right here. Let's see how it disappeared. This is why I always recommend using a raw element instead, because it doesn't disappear. It still shows. Basically, once you get your blog view the way that you want it to look, you can save it, go back into the page and edit it. It looks weird there. And edit it, go to text, copy it all, and you want to go ahead to your, I'm lost, go ahead here, paste it in there, okay? So that way we have that. It's not going to look right, and I'll show you how to fix that in a second. So we have that. So basically what we need to do in order to make it look the way we need it to look, because right now it's still taking course of this single PHP that we have here with all of this custom stuff that we did. So we don't want that anymore. So we want to go ahead and get rid of all this, update the file. We're going to go ahead to our Pro theme, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and scroll down to where we see the layouts that Themeco has, and we use no container, no header, no container, header footer, which is template number 4. If we go to that and copy this code that they have, paste it into our child theme under the single.php. Then once we go ahead and do that, everything looks the way it needs to look. You have your body content here. You have your title up here, but no background image. Where did that go? Let's figure that out. Let's see, go to our single blog view. Let's add our post featured image. Custom size, let's do let's do 1200 by 400. Let's see what this looks. Let's do an HTML tag. We can do that. So what we're going to do is, instead of making it a background image, we'll go ahead and we'll add it as an image above. I'm just quickly working through this stuff because most of it is from this point on, most of it's pretty self-explanatory on making this function the way you need it to function. Remember that once you save this, you still have to go back in, edit the page, go to the text, yes, proceed, copy this, and paste this. That's one downfall of using Cornerstone to edit it. You always have to do that. So there's different ways of styling this. My image is not the correct size. You have to add some custom CSS to it, but for the most part, you guys can understand. This is how we can customize our single blog views, as well as being able to style the main blog view, and then you can insert this anywhere you want with a shortcut. It doesn't have to be the blog page. It can be anywhere that you guys want to insert it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any other questions at all, like I said, just PM me, tag me in a status or anything like that, and we can go from there. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.